Hey, what's up, YouTube? What's up, Twitch? We're doing this shit live on Twitch. This is going on to my YouTube channel for later. Hopefully my microphone is loud enough to drown out the music. I don't want the music too loud like it was on the last one. But so I think what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing a final Soulcalibur 6 tier list for Season 2. I don't think the game's going to change much. I honestly don't think we're getting a Season 3. Even though people really want it, I don't think we're getting it. So I'm just going to go off what I know for now. And what I think that the meta has evolved into from the beginning of Season 2, and that last patch we had when Setsuka got nerfed. I think that was the last patch we had. It was a few Setsuka nerfs and buffs to a few other characters. I think even who else got nerfed? Amy also got nerfed. And they nerfed verticals or fixed verticals. They don't track as easily. You can actually step verticals at like -6 now or something. I don't remember the exact amount, like -6. You can step I-12 vertical. Anyways, let's go ahead and get on into this. I will say, if you don't see your character in top tier or you see your character in bottom tier, that doesn't mean that your character sucks. It means that your character is harder to win with. I think every character in this game is tournament viable. I think there's no character that can't win a major. People think that Mitsurugi is one of the worst characters in the game, and recently at We Play UFL, which is no longer affiliated with Bandai Namco at all, the two of the greatest players in the world, Woz and Skill, played in the grand finals, and Skills took it over Woz. Woz was using Mitsurugi, and Skill was using Mitsurugi and Woz was using Setsuka. Both of those characters are known to be bottom tier characters, but I think that they're both pretty strong. They're just bottom tier in the sense that we don't think they're very good as competitive players, or they're harder to win with. Man, this is really suck. I have to figure out where I'm placing everything. Let's start with the top tiers. I'm gonna put 3 characters in the top tier all at the same time, and hopefully they make sense. I think these are the 3 best characters in the game. I think that these characters all do really similar things. They're all going to harass you at long range. They all have really good neutral pokes. They all have explosive damage. One more so than the other 2. One has more counterplay than the other 2. That being Nightmare. So Nightmare is the most high risk, high reward out of all of these. But he can also play the same safe game that they can play. Another thing that Nightmare is really strong at is Nightmare is strong at working guard gauges. Nightmare is strong at defense because a lot of characters have to worry so much about armor that he gets to step for free, because most safe buttons or strong buttons, strong attacks, they're going to break through the armor, are going to be vertical. So he gets to use steps for free. A lot of 6/6 KK out of Night Terror Charge, a lot of step into 3B. He gets to do the linear, the autopilot step into 3B more than a lot of other characters on the roster. Cervantes is kind of the same way, because you really don't want to get hit by 2A plus B a lot. So what happens is you end up stepping and getting hit by some of his amazing mid horizontals. And they're pretty quick. You're going to be able to step block them when you're neutral. If you're ever minus, you're not really step blocking those. You're not really allowed to mash against Cervantes a lot either. His allergy eyes are amazing. His whip punishment is amazing. And with that same thought process, we put Hilda up here as well. Hilda has some of the best damage in the game. Amazing range, phenomenal neutral, amazing kicks. Okay, I don't know if this really matters, but I think her kicks are so strong. Her AGI is okay. Cervantes has been cool for a long time. Yeah. I mean, I think he's cool, but I didn't always think he was good. Season 1, he was one of the worst characters in the game, supposedly. But now he's definitely, without contention, one of the top 3 characters in the game. I like to say that he's top 1. I think Cervantes is personally the best character in the game, but all 3 of these characters could be considered top 1. They all have very few flaws. I think the S+ characters some are summed up very easily. They have very few flaws, or almost no flaws at all. Their flaws are that they have to take risk, but in a game where everyone has to take risk because of the way that the defensive and offensive systems work, they take the least out of every other character on the roster and get the most reward. I would say that S is only slightly under S+. It's not too big of a disparity in power. And the first character I'm going to place in S+ is Tira. I think Tira, with all the buffs that she's gotten, with how easy it is for her to get into Gloomy Coda now, and with how phenomenal her range, her backstep, and her CE with punishment is, or with punishment in general, she does everything that you want to do in Soulcalibur, minus the fact that she's orange. The only thing that's wrong with Tira is that she has RNG elements. If Tira did not have a single RNG element, she would 100% be the best character on the roster. I don't think there's any real way to like make this character bad when she has two different characters that are both pretty solid. Gloomy is absolutely ridiculous. Safe launchers, tech crouching launchers. I think it's I-18. 4A is a ridiculous button. Some of her pokes are really plus on hit, making it so that you can't continue to press buttons on her. You could say the same thing about the next character I'm going to put here. Surprise, surprise, I don't think Zoss is top 5 for the first time in the game. Pardon me. And I do think that Jolly is just as good, like 6B pressure, 6A, AA, BB. Like, you can just play neutral with this character, and backstepping will punish so many things. Like, her safety is like unparalleled, and her range is like just as good as the top tier characters, but deceptively, right? You don't expect her to have the same range as these three, and her range like is almost equivalent to Cervantes, or maybe not equivalent to Hilda. I think Hilda's like the queen of neutral, but she's right up there with her. The next character I'm going to place is... I think that the Amy nerfs did push her down a little bit. She's not like definitively top 2 and like top 1 with full roses. I think with like full roses, she's like in S+ with the other characters, like alongside them. I don't think that she's like significantly better than them without it. The 4A nerf actually really hurt. Like being able to like challenge after 4A so often, and so it's like it's hella skewed out of her favor now, which I think is good. I don't think that it should have been as skewed in her favor as it used to be. So it's a really good thing that they nerfed for the way that they did. But she still has some of the best frames in the game. Amazing pressure. Roses are still extremely easy to get as long as you're not getting zoned out. And her soul charge is absolutely ridiculous. I think this character belongs in top 5. That's the end of top 5, but like there's still other characters in S. But I think that all of these are extremely safe like tournament picks. You can't really like go wrong with any of these characters. I don't think you can go wrong with any character on the roster, but if you see like one of these like 5 characters, these are all solid characters to pick to like win a tournament without having to have any second. The next character I'm gonna put here, I kind of want to put like 3 characters and like describe them all at the same time because they all kind of play really similar. Yoshimitsu, the Solomel, Cassandra, and you guys are gonna be really confused to why I say that because 2 of these characters have an I-10. One of these characters does not. Right, but what they want to do is they want to whittle you down with their pokes until they can use either their brave edges, their curses, or divine force to absolutely run you over and win the game off the spot. These characters can play that slow, methodical game, and they're pretty good at it. Maybe not as good as the top 5, but then they have that extremely explosive power that puts them right up alongside them. They're not significantly worse than anyone in the top 5. They're like right behind them. I think that like these are also solid picks. Yoshi has a problem where he is relatively easy to zone out. Like, yeah, 6-6K is pretty good to get in. 6-6A is pretty good to get in. You can get in with 6-6B now, which is a really good move. Full crouch 3K is still unreactable. No matter what any of you fuckers say, it's unreactable. And he has some of the best wall rising punishment in the game. I think Yoshimitsu is like really good, but he suffers from being able to get zoned out, especially against the 3 characters in the top tiers. Along with a few like lower tier characters, so like because he can like lose matchups to some of the characters who are below him, it's harder to put him extremely high like I used to. I used to think Yoshi was like definitively like top 5, but he's like right under it, which isn't like, it's not too much bad, too much worse. You can say the same thing about Zalama, except he doesn't get zoned out. What happens to Zalama instead is that he doesn't get curses online. He has like the Amy syndrome, where he has really good buttons, but then he has even better buttons when he has curses. Like 4-6B is good, but 4-6B is amazing when you have 1 curse and it's safe. It's amazing when you have 2 curses and it's neutral. It's absolutely broken when you have 3 curses and it's plus on the button. 4A same way. Amazing button. Already really good. Pulls people in. It makes you plus 6, I think. And then with 1 curse you get a free follow-up. Amazing. Sick button. It's even better the more curse issue. This character will always probably be really good. I think his problem is that there's a lot of knowledge checks and a lot of easy counterplay for some characters that have AGIs, and I hate like mentioning that, but it's like so relevant that some characters can always choose the right option to get out of your situation. Like if you do any held button, Xianghua can probably beat it with one of her AGI. All she has to do is like mash the AGI and then hold block. Or hold block, then mash the AGI. Something along those lines. I don't really know exactly how it works. I've done it on stream to like show people. And as long as you have an AGI for specifically the button that you're trying to beat, then you don't lose. You either block the 3AK or you AGI the 3AB. Or you block the 66A or you AGI the 66A hold, right? In that situation, it makes those moves that are like normally really good kind of unusable, but that doesn't push him so far down that I won't consider him like in the top tiers of the game. Cassandra, she doesn't struggle as hard at getting kept out. Her Divine Force is really solid, but I think that Yoshimitsu just edges her out because of more unseeable mix-up. Like, yeah, they're unsafe, but just because the move's unsafe doesn't mean it's bad. Like, Sophie 1K is like minus 12 and minus 14, but it's not bad. You can still just jam 1K at people. What are they gonna do? Block it? If they don't block it, it's still a really powerful low. These characters are all really strong. Like, I don't think that you're gonna go wrong with picking any of them for like a tournament. I think I have like 3 more characters that I'm gonna put in A. I mean in S, and then we move down to A+. I think we're gonna go ahead and go with Column, Tongwan, and Raphael. I think Raphael's about. I think it's this order right here. Talum is insane. Raphael, Talum, and Changhua are all insane. And these characters are so crazy, but they carry inherent risk that, like, pardon me, I had to take a sip of beer. They carry inherent risk that most of their moves, most of the way they're going to open up the opponent without with punishment, is going to be a linear button. Either linear in the sense that it's high and horizontal, or it's going to be high and vertical most of the time. Or extremely reactable and step level. Column has that in her AA and her 6B without, her 6-6B without, sort of 6-6B without, let's just call it Wind Terror Charge. I think it's called Wind Bear Stance. I don't remember, but it's Windy Terror Charge. We'll call it that. Her 6K. I think it's 6K. Move's amazing, but extremely linear. The mid is I-12, but you can step it. So if they're doing 6-6B or they're doing 6K, you open them up the same way. Sidestep crouch. Sidestep crouch beats both those options. There's a lot of like little interactions in neutral that can cause these characters to get blown up. But if they're not blown up, if they make the right reads, characters are not any worse than the characters above. They're all really solid. Raphael still has some of the best pokes in the game, right alongside Amy. I just think that specifically he's a lot worse once Amy gets to red, and I don't think Amy's like gonna get starved off red most games. First, yeah, maybe. I'm gonna go ahead and say no, you're not first. But I mean, you tried. I mean, he's not really gonna get starved off red, and I think with Amy with red is better than Raphael. Like, I think I can like 100% say that and it not sound stupid. Amy without roses may be worse, maybe because of her damage output, but like her safety is still just as good. It's nothing really like bad per se. Changhua, amazing AGIs. She's got some of the hardest callouts in the game. I'm not downplaying Klaus. I think that he's still a top tier. I think that everyone in S plus and S is like 100% definitive. Like, the problem is, I think like the game is so stacked and heavy that like there's no bad character. So like everyone's good. It's just like your good might be not as good as someone else's good, you know? Pardon me, that hurt. Ow. Changhua only struggles with characters who probably also can mash out of her pressure, so they have I-10s or whatever. So like Raphael, Amy, Taki, and Yoshimitsu. I might be missing someone, Cassandra, I think. But otherwise, like, she's a really solid pick. I used to have her way lower on the tier list. I for some reason thought that she sucked. And after talking to, after watching Zed a lot and talking to Zed about the way that Changhua is supposed to function and watching Incendiate play, I don't think that this character's bad. I don't think there's really any way that you can call X bad. Like, you can't even say Herder X has low damage anymore. That's like just a lie. Like, yeah, maybe she's getting low damage off a standard launcher, but you could just do full crouch through B. Well, it's safe. You know, she's like the epitome of safe launchers. You could do, I think it's 2-2 A plus B. At tip, it's minus 12, and I don't think anyone other than like maybe like Raphael can punish it because of the length of it. And then in close range, it's like minus 16. But you're never using it in close range. You're using it at the farthest range where the only character who's going to get a punish against you is Raphael. Like, making her have 2 to 3 safe launchers. I think her wall rising B is also. It's a little more reactable there. I think that's the end of S. I think the start of A. Man, this is tough. You know, there's a lot of good characters here. I think that I'm gonna really like upplay Astaroth. I'm gonna put Astaroth as like the perennial like mid tier. I'm gonna put him as like right under the top tiers because Astaroth has this weird thing called command grabs. And I don't know if you guys know this, but did you know that they're all 50-50s? Did you guys know that LOL break the throw isn't that easy when it's a coin toss? Did you know that? I think that makes this character extremely strong, especially because they buffed the lethal hits and lowered the condition for getting throw breaks, right? It's a -12 mid, so it's not like terrible to throw out. I believe it also tech grabs it. So it's a pretty good move. It is linear, but that is something that Astaroth struggles from a lot. But currently in Soulcalibur 6, and I think it's probably going to stay this way. Jordan J with the resub. Thank you so much, homie. I appreciate you. Currently, everyone in Soulcalibur 6, except Tira's command grab is really vertical. Has horizontal grabs and horizontal command grabs. So what that means is that, yeah, he has linear verticals. But now if you're trying to avoid a linear vertical, you get hit by a command throw. And now you have to break. And he's plus on break, +6, I believe. I don't think it's +8. It pushes you back a little bit. So he's probably got advantage. He does have longer range than most characters. I don't know what Astaroth players keep complaining about that, oh no, they're pushed out of optimal range. I can't throw them again. Don't throw loop them, moron. Do BA. Do 4A. Do 4-4A. Heck W. I don't know what to tell you. You know, this character is really strong. You get through reads, you win. The only thing this character struggles with is bad matchups. This character's matchup spread might be one of the worst in the game. But you can never discount a 50-50. If you're just a giant walking 50-50, how the fuck can you be bad? You know? I think Astaroth is solidly good. Right under Astaroth, I want to put a few characters that kind of all play the same like general game. I want to put Setsuka. I want to put Keelit. And I think I want to put Wong here. These characters, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I want to put Sophitia here. There we go. I'm sorry. I'll go back and explain Sophitia here in a second. There we go. So I think Setsuka, I think Sophitia, let's start with her. I think Sophitia is in that same boat as Astaroth. She just has safe launchers, amazing lows, an impressive mix-up game, and a really strong soul charge. You can't go wrong with picking this character. Like, she's not the same like busted that she used to be when soul charge was absolutely broken and it was just like one of the best comeback mechanics in the game for her. But it's still so powerful that you just have to worry about it all the time. Her lethal hits are extremely practical, so you're going to be getting a lot of damage and a lot of meter all the time with this character. She has one of the fastest reverse ledges in the game. I think that you can't go wrong with 1K, with the 1K goddess. You know, it's -2 on hit, but I don't think that matters as much as people think it does. Hey, what's up, Falcon Wrestling? I don't think that matters as much as people think it does. I think that a move like that being -2 on hit is almost more in Sophie's advantage when the Sophie player understands that they are only slightly minus and they have some of the best head crouch buttons in the game. They have backstep stab. They have 2-2 BAK. You know, even though that's extremely punishable on block, even punishable on whip with like crazy stuff from some characters like Zos 4K, it's still such a powerful mix-up. Like you like do an opening move, something that like makes your opponent want to scramble, and then you have like the potential for like a shorty. You know, like that's, there's nothing wrong with that playstyle, with that game plan. That's really, it's like really strong. Oh, you know this guy, cool. It's really strong. I think that Sophitia is like pretty good. These characters, I want to call them the perennial poke characters. Oh shit, you know what? Let me put him above Huang, maybe. Yeah, that's right. These are like the poke characters. These are the poke characters. Do you want to poke? Do you want to annoy the fuck out of your opponent? Had to stop in because I saw your ranking seal. It's nice. Do you want to poke? Do you want to make people feel bad every time they're playing the game and make a wrong read, and they just get like barely clipped for like a launcher, and they take like 50 damage and they're returned to neutral and have to get in again? These are the characters. These are the characters you want to use. Setsuka has extremely explosive damage. Sheesh. range, extremely explosive damage, but some of the safest pokes in the game, some of the best lows, some of those obnoxious launchers that lead to full combo damage. Garol, less so on the crazier launchers, but his game plan and general solidness make it so that there's no way that Garol will ever like be fully power cooked out of the game. His playstyle cannot be antiquated ever. No shit, having a drink. I'm about to get fucking destroyed in SC in a bit. Oh, are you gonna be in the lobby? Yeah. By the way, it's going on YouTube like immediately. If you guys see this, stop by Beanie Thuggish, twitch.tv/Beanie Thuggish. Come join the stream. I'm gonna be doing a PC Soulcalibur 6 lobby after this. Let me get on to Keelik. Keelik is roughly the same way, and so is Swan. These characters all kind of function in this way where you just want to be poking your opponent out until they make mistakes, and when they do, you capitalize really heavily. Two of them out of the three really don't get Oki, so maybe they should be lower than the other ones. Maybe Huang should be here, because these two characters really suffer off not getting Oki a lot of the time from their situations, but that doesn't really make them particularly bad. I still think that they're extremely strong. These are like medium risk, medium reward characters, or like low risk, medium reward characters, is what I would call them. And in a game where Draw doesn't struggle against any characters, which is really great. Yeah, like I think that like A+ is like all like solid characters that usually don't have a problem. It's usually that their matchups suck, or that you have to play perfectly the entire time, or play extremely well the entire time. Like you don't have a lot of room for what we would call in card games misplays. Like if you're playing like a top tier deck or top tier character, you have room for misplays and you can still come back. These like A+ and A characters, usually you don't really have that luxury. If you misplay like more than 2 or 3 times with these characters per round, you're probably going to end up losing that round. These characters in A, you probably are going to have less room for misplay, and if you misplay, you're going to just straight up lose. I think next I want to put Pamaru and Ivy. I want to drink, but I'm grilling burgers and no beer. Sad life. Damn, burgers sound really good right now. You didn't answer in the Discord. I put hot dogs and burgers. Most people pick burgers. I'm gonna go with hot dogs though. And I'm putting Pamaru over Ivy because of his explosiveness, ease of use, and better mix-ups. I think that Ivy, she has multiple playstyles. She's not like linear in the way that she plays. You can do multiple things with her, but there is a problem in the way that she plays. That you are forced to always be ready to soul charge out of disadvantage. Like she doesn't really get to spend her meter except defensively, you know? Like you have to spend, like, yeah, you can like do a cool soul attack combo and like try to gain advantage, but then you're in soul charge now. And Ivy's AGIs are both pretty limited and both extremely punishable. So like you don't really want to be putting yourself, yeah, exactly. She lacks extremely safe defensive options, except like 4B, I think that's what it's called. Or 4-4B, the one where she sidestep launches. That's one of her better like defensive tools, and it's also a lethal hit. Otherwise, like Ivy really struggles on defense. Like her lethal hits are defense specific, kind of. When you think about the other one where she like crouches and does the whip through the ground behind her. But her like offense, whenever she's in advantage or has you full screen, is like totally unparalleled. There's no character that can do it better than her. But Pamaru just has like better defensive options and like safer mix-ups. Hey, what's up, Ty Walker? How are you doing? 2-2A. 2-2A is unsafe, but it's not really a defensive option. It's a defensive read. Like there's no real defensive properties to it. It doesn't technically sidestep. What it does is that you have to do it out of sidestep. So like 4-4A just has like a built-in sidestep, right? So the problem with 2-2A is that if you do 2-2A and your opponent does a late vertical, it'll retrap. Right? But if you do 4B or 4-4B, whatever it is, and your opponent does a vertical, the move has a step in it, so she actually steps the vertical. It works the way that 2-2A should probably work, but maybe 2-2A would be too powerful. I want to put... Oh man, I really think that Mina's not this bad. You know, I don't know where to fit in Mina is the problem. I think Mina might actually be above character. May have missed her. I do apologize for that. The characters are so hard to like just really place somewhere because of how diverse every character can play. No character is really a one-trick pony in this game. Mina is, I would put her with the perennial like solid mid-tiers that you can't really power creep. Like she used to be a lot better, but you can't really like completely power creep her out of being good in the game. I don't think that she's like terrible. And let's go ahead and get started with A. The bottom 5 is where I think like characters actually start to struggle. Let's go ahead and put Inferno in every character's tournament viable smile. Let's start with Aswell and 2B. These two characters are what I like to call high risk, high reward. If you are on point, if you are playing well, you are going to steamroll characters. You're going to steamroll other characters. You're going to steamroll other players. These characters don't really have like terrible matchups per se. They just have terrible situations that they can get put into. And if you get put into a terrible situation and you guess wrong, you're gonna lose. You're gonna get blown up and you're gonna die. It's just how these two characters work. I don't think that they're bad per se. I just think that it makes them. Inferno is the worst character in the game. No, Inferno is just not playable. So I'm putting him. He's not tournament viable. So I put him in every character is tournament viable. Smile, because the meme is that you can't use him. So clearly he's not tournament viable. Smile. I don't think that inherently that makes them bad. It just means that you have to play safer. You have to know when to pick your spots to go for your crazy mix-ups. He literally is the worst. I don't think that. I think that's the case. I want to put Taki, Siegfried, and Grow above these. I still think Mitsu is the worst character in the game, but I don't think that means that he's bad. Okay, every character in this game is tournament viable. I want to stress that. When I put these last 3 characters in, which I guess I can just do now, I don't specifically think that any of them suck. Okay, I just think that in comparison to the rest of the roster, they have to work harder to win. And there's nothing wrong with that. Saying, oh, you Toto 1 Evo with the low tier is taking credit away from the player. Don't do that. Don't do that. Saying Skill got 2nd place at We Play UFL. Yes, not Mizurugi, Skill. Every character in the right hands is tournament viable. Siegfried Basehold's still strong, not as good. A lot of his mix-ups are really seeable, very fallible. This game is incredibly balanced. Yeah, exactly. Taki is essentially the same way except close range. She does have some like absolutely ridiculous buttons, like 6-6, A plus B hold, and A6. Amazing buttons, but it doesn't make up for the fact that she is lacking a lot of defensive tools. She doesn't really do. She can't do anything out of defense except match. It's really the only thing Taki can do out of defense. Grow, he struggles in the same way. That Avenger stance is very fallible. You lose a lot of games by going into Avenger stance in a situation where you really think that you should, and you end up getting blown up for it. Maxi, covered in holes and gaps. Yeah, he's extremely annoying to fight, but if you learn the matchup, he's not as good as a lot of the other characters. You've seen a lot of top Maxi players dropping the character, like Rich Sticks. I think in Deus Ex Kylo, he actually went with Aswell, who I don't even think is that much better, but he is a lot less risk averse when it comes to playing the game normally, because you don't have to either cut off half your moveset and stances or lose. Because a lot of situations Maxi puts himself into, a lot of characters have counterplay to it, like extremely hard counterplay, like a backstep into a launch, or a long range button like a back sway, or a sidestep into a horizontal, right, to like beat a lot of his really slow powerful verticals that come out of his stances. Voldo is just Voldo. Voldo changes every patch. Voldo could be here this patch, and if like game gets changed, he could like be here. Like he's just Voldo, but he's not bad. He just has a lot of fallibility. You're forced to play extremely solid with this character. Hey, what's up, Wario? How are you doing? You're just forced to play extremely solid with this character, and the same thing can be said for Mix. I think that he's like a worse Huamaru. The only thing he has that's better than Huamaru is like he has Tagashima Terror, and he has Kots. He has a Shura Blade. I think it's Shura Blade 6B plus K. I'm doing pretty good. Just did a short tier list video for Soulcalibur 6. Then we're gonna get into some lobby games, which is really cool. But I think that this is my final tier list for Soulcalibur 6. If we don't get any more changes to the game, and I'm gonna go ahead and say this one more time for the YouTube comment section. Please don't act a fool in my comment section. Bro, I think they changed the lethal condition. They didn't remove it. They made it so that it wasn't a generic 50-50, which was absolutely stupid. I still thought he was bottom tier with it. I don't think anyone should have these 50-50 lethal hits, like 3B lethal hit from Mitsurugi, 3B lethal hit from what's his name, from Aswell, 3B lethal hit from Ivy, and that low lethal hit from Voldo. I don't think any character should have those like just generic 50-50 lethal hits. Imagine if Zos in Soul Charge with 1 AB and 3 AKB just had a random 50-50 on one of them. Like, oh, you ducked? Oh, 3 AKB lethal hits now? Full ground stuns plus 86 for whatever the fuck you want. Like, no, that's absolute, or pops up and you get an 8A plus B out of the air. Like, no, that's so dumb. I don't think characters should have this. Like, Amy functions just fine with her amazing lethal hits and her amazing 50-50s without that. Buff these characters so they don't need something like that. Instead of like I don't even think these characters are among like the top characters in the game, but it's just like a dumb lethal hit to have. I don't think that they should have that. I think that a lot of the defense in this game comes from backstory buttons, really strong AGIs, and being able to mash out disadvantage along with reverse ledging sword. So if your character like can't really do that or doesn't have those options, they're probably a lot worse off. Like, except for the situation of Maxi, who has all of those things. But because they carry so much inherent risk with them, because his stances like force you into the situation, and at that point it's actually 50-50s for you, not for the opponent like the Astaroth. It makes him kind of worse in comparison to the characters above him, right? Like Amy, who can just use hers in neutral, or Cervantes and Tira. Anyways, this is the end of the tier list video. Thank you for tuning in on Twitch. Thank you for tuning in on YouTube. And if this is going up like right now, I'm gonna upload this bitch immediately. So if you see me streaming still, catch me on twitch.tv/BeNeedThuggish. We'll be doing Soulcalibur 6 lobbies for this tonight, probably. Maybe we'll move on to some Tekken or some Magic the Gathering Arena. But I know for the next foreseeable 2 or 3 hours, we'll probably be on some Soulcalibur. But we'll see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out. Peace.